he would win a game or get an award, he would say, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He was very in your face about it. And it really caused people to get frustrated with him. And I'll explain why here in a second. I want to show a couple more pieces of the kind of character Tim Tebow is, just so we know we're not talking about a standard sports person here. I've had to go through this. It's heartbreaking. I'm a huge fan, and this is totally heartbreaking. Okay. So this story here is that he lost a game for Florida. Okay. This is him being a really good sport, and they were supposed to go undefeated. And basically, he lost this game, and he gave this speech, made good on it. They made a statue for him outside. I'm not a big fan of making statues for people, whatever. But this is the kind of teammate he was and how people would rally behind him as far as character. You know what I'm going to do is get the right one going this time. What is this one called? Football Life. Here it is. Here we go.
He delivered on the most famous promise in college football history.
I'm sorry. Extremely sorry. You know, we were hoping for an undefeated season. That was my goal, something Florida's never done here. But I promise you one thing, a lot of good will come out of this. You have never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season, and you never see someone push the rest of the team as hard as I will push everybody the rest of the season, and you never see a team play harder than we will the rest of this season. God bless.
He delivered on one of...
Okay, so that happened. Again, they won out. They won every game. He played the rest of his career. I think he won like 2 Heisman trophies. Super rah-rah team guy, won at every level. And then as far as Tim Tebow, the teammate, and this is going to be important for later. So I want you to see the kind of thing he did with his team to lift his guys up. Demaryius Thomas, who we're going to cover, he just passed, RIP DT. We're going to get in a crazy conspiracy about Demaryius Thomas later. So the last about 15 minutes of this is going to be, I want to say conspiracy gold, but definitely conspiracy bronze. So Demaryius Thomas, he threw a touchdown to him. Demaryius Thomas didn't catch it. He's sulking, and Tebow comes in and says, hey, yo, we're going to win the game. Don't worry, don't get down. And he did. He threw a touchdown to Demaryius Thomas that won the game. So it was like a fulfilling prophecy. But look at the how genuine he is. And this Demaryius Thomas guy later sold him out, like said, I'm glad he's gone. But check this out. Ooh, this is actually him praying. This is actually something else I want to show. This, I got these out of order. I apologize. But watch him praying on the sideline.
No matter what, win or lose, Lord, give me the strength to honor you.
Right. Lord, bless and protect me. Bless and protect my team. Give me the strength to win. I meant to show that on the last one, so I apologize. I got kerfuffled with the whole thing that went down. This is him talking to Demaryius Thomas.
What you believe in?
A quarterback's major role is to transfer his own confidence, and you know Tebow's got a lot of confidence.
So you're good. I'm good. My fault, man. Hey, no big deal. Just makes it closer for a little bit longer, man. You're about to go catch the game winner, and then you'll be the hero of the game.
Denver.
All right. So if you've ever played any kind of sport, you have to like root your guys on, hold them accountable, whatever. DT's sulking, right? DT's all bummed out. You're all good, man. You're going to catch this, and you're going to be the hero of the game. Look at how genuine he is. This is how, even though he wasn't the greatest thrower of the football, which he would have gotten better, this is how the guy won these games. This is what everybody around him felt constantly.
The hero of the game.
Denver.
Down the near sideline for Drew Pearson.
No big deal. Just makes it closer for a little bit longer, man. You're about to go catch the game winner, and then you'll be the hero of the game.
Denver last year, it just kept
so genuine and so unapologetically like strong leader praying. You know, he wasn't like trying to be flashy. He just, this is who this guy is, right? So when you look at the kind of thing you need to win, and again, the guy won at every level. Give me a few more minutes to explain the football success that this guy had. When you win at every level, you're a born leader. You're a born football player. So I looked up for fun the top 12 things that all successful athletes would need to demonstrate as far as, you know, you want to draft this guy, he's going to be good for your team. Number 1, self-confidence. has it. Motivation, super motivated. You're going to see more of that tonight. Discipline, super like workout buff, unbelievably disciplined. Optimism. You just saw him there being really optimistic. Acceptance of criticism. The guy, nobody's been harder on Tim Tebow. Nobody's been harder on any athlete ever, I don't think, than Tim Tebow. And he just is always like positive somehow. Poise under stress. He was the best quarterback rating wise in the fourth quarter in his full season in the NFL. Obviously focused, resilient, competitive spirit. Everybody that played with him said he's the most competitive person they've ever been with. Natural leadership. Humility, super humble guy, and passion, right? These are the kind of things that you need. And this is how Tim Tebow is able to succeed doing the things that he did. So as you watch these first little things, it's like, cool, the guy wasn't aborted. He's a Christian. He serves God. He is a great leader. He's a great teammate. He took a team that was 1-4 to the playoffs. He's was a virgin, which is crazy. I'm not saying you have to do that, but he was like, talk about disciplined, right? Imagine being Tim Tebow and pulling that one off. And so when he had the run that he had in his first year, any team would go, that's exactly who we want. That's who we want on our team. That's who we want to be the quarterback. Yes, he wasn't throwing the ball as good as he can, but he will get better. So what was the media, do you think, doing with this information, with this guy? Think they were like, oh yeah, Tebow, he's cool, right? This is where you see basically the media bias. And this is why, a big reason why I'm doing this is that whether it's, everybody be afraid of coronavirus, you're all going to die, stay in your home and be afraid, when really you need to not be afraid and load up on sunlight and vitamin D. Whether it's, ivermectin is terrible for you, don't get it. The V is good for you. You have to get it. This whole thing that the media is constantly spinning, it's what keeps me in a perpetual state of being a conspiracy theorist. They can't tell the truth about anything. They're of their father, the devil, right? So now you've got this Tim Tebow guy. How are they going to cover Tim Tebow, right? How are they going to, portray this guy who is really, where is it at? Who's really dynamic and is the kind of role model that you would want your son or daughter to be looking up to. Let's see how the media is portraying this guy. I don't know how much I can watch of this because it's really, really offending to God, but this is the media's version of Tim Tebow.
Another miracle win for the Denver Broncos, who beat the Chicago Bears by 3 in overtime. The Broncos have now won 6 in a row behind quarterback Tim Tebow.
Being a Christian in the world today, in the world ever, I guess. I mean, this happened to Jesus and all of his people. That the world doesn't like Jesus. Okay, they don't like the name Jesus. Think about that. Does anybody go when they're mad? They like hit their thumb with a hammer. Do they go Buddha? Ah, fat Buddha, or like, Allah, la, la, la. Like, no, it's Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ. People say that name because the devil's afraid of that name. The devil's afraid of Christianity. He's afraid of Christ. And the devil runs the world system. I mean, I know I've talked about this before, but when Jesus was on the earth, the devil came to him and was like, hey, if you work for me, I'll let you run the world system with me. So we're the salt of the earth. We are always going to be in opposition. And so this is not a surprise how this ended up going, because a Christian like Tim Tebow on that level, sure, filled stands, sold jerseys, was a superstar, was winning games. I mean, literally every box you could check about what you need as a quarterback in the NFL, generating money for the league. They just weren't going to let it happen. They just weren't going to let it happen, period. And it's unbelievable. Like, this ends up being about the heart. And what's really interesting, I can't prove this, but I'm pretty sure that, the kind of people who really embrace evolution and atheism and like they think God is bad are probably doing things This is generalizing, I apologize, but that they don't want to be held accountable, right? All that stuff just went down with all the CNN producers. When Kent Hovind got put in jail, his prosecutor got in trouble for the same thing, trying to engage with minors. And I'm not talking about the people that get coal out of caves. And those people are like, basically at one point in their life, they go, I can't deal with the thing that I'm doing. And if there's a God, he's going to be pissed. So then they get welcomed into the scientific community, open arms. Yeah, there's no God. You're just a monkey. And they can go, yeah, well, I'm a like wild animal, alpha male, whatever. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to take whatever I want. I can't deal with this God idea. I've got 99 problems and God isn't one of them, right? And as I've watched this and done all this research, like you watch the certain guys and they're like, I hate Tim Tebow. He's the worst quarterback. He's the worst thing that's ever happened. He's a joke, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you hiding? Like, that's what my thought is. Like, really? Like, okay, so you don't want to, okay, cool. And I can't prove that. But the thing is, we talk about this all the time on this show. Reality is very, like, fairly subjective, if not entirely subjective. There might not be such a thing as actual base reality. It might be something that we're all perceiving through our consciousness, whatever. And so what happens is you start to build these biases, and then you see the world through your biases. It's called a schema. It's the lens that you look through, right? So if you go through, you had religious trauma, you're mad at God, you don't want to be judged, whatever, everything goes through that lens, that contact lens, right? And people that watch Tim Tebow through this lens. It's so subjective the way that he plays. And they go, like me, I'm a Christian. I go, yeah, he's not throwing it great, but he found a way to win. And people that like hate God are like, yeah, Tim Tebow can't throw a ball and he got lucky at the end. That's what this whole thing is, right? But watch how some of these people, watch this Stephen A. Smith guy. I don't know if anybody's a fan. Watch how he responds to Tim Tebow. Tell me if this is about football, okay? What I'm going to show you right now, this clip, tell me if this is about the way Tim Tebow played football.
For joining us, we appreciate it. A handshake for you two first before we begin.
What are they saying? Did somebody say Tebow?
I did hear that.
Yes.
Let me tell y'all something. We will not be doing this. I'm going to show you how serious I am. I spot somebody up in here wearing a Tebow jersey. Here's all I got to say. My big boy, Security Jay. Come up in here, man.
Uh-oh.
Get him. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. I want him out. Get him out. Get him out.
Don't leave.
No.
Don't leave. You got to stay here.
No,
Don't fall. Don't fall.
We will not be talking about guys for Super Bowl week that didn't even make the roster. Stick them in the bathroom for the time being.
Yes.
Stick them in the bathroom. Enough of this. We will not be talking about the Super Bowl week.
You are the one who always brings.
How do you guys feel about that? Do you see any underlying messages with the guy who says Tebow, and they get the security guard and lock him up? This is a football player. This is a football player that has lived in the public spotlight and, to the best of my knowledge, has never done anything contradictory to what he believes. Imagine that. Imagine the things that Tiger Woods did, Michael Jordan did. And Tim Tebow is like it's a mirror. It's holy water. Your relationship with God is you look at him in the person of Tim Tebow. This is the conspiracy. And it gets even worse because we'll see here with Elway and some of the crazy stuff that ends up actually happening. But this is the thing about this guy. People, how they feel about God Tebow's a mirror on that. And so the people that love Tim Tebow love God, or neutral at least, and are like watching an entertaining football player. But the people that do this kind of thing, you just have to ask, I'd love to know what's in that person's closet, right? And let me show you another thing here. I wasn't supposed to do this because I'm going off script again, but in addition to the guy being this freak athlete and, winning at every level, this is from Bleacher Report, not some Christian publication. This is very secular, right? The Tim Tebow phenomenon has grown to a point where sports are just a backdrop. He has transcended the NFL to become the biggest news story that just so happens to involve sports since Michael Jordan. He's the biggest story of the decade, trumping Kobe Bryant. This is a sports article. Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, LeBron James. They've got nothing on Tebow. Kobe got out of his rape charges with 2 championships. Woods dominated the tour for 10 years before blowing it all on some chicks in Vegas. And LeBron didn't understand his mistake with the decision. Tebow is on a different level. Maybe later. Tebow's strong faith has divided the nation. I'm not, as a conspiracy theorist, I'm not just talking conspiracy here. This is actually what happened. He thanks his Lord, look at that, lowercase l, think that's an accident, and Savior before every press conference. It makes plenty of people cringe. It angers people that don't want to hear a word about religion when watching sports. The Tebowing craze is a perfect example. Everybody's doing it, but half of the population is mocking him, and the other half is honoring him. It's about the worldview. Think about this. This guy is like David. I'm not trying to be blasphemous. I know that David isn't God, but this guy was David. He was a rock star. And so Christian moms that had DC Talk, like Michael Smith, now they've got this guy who's Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Tiger Woods, and he's representing God on the biggest stage. And people were doing the Tebow thing because they were like, cool, I'm representing God. And other people were making fun of him for it. There was no middle ground with Tim Tebow. You loved him or you hated him, and it was based on how you felt about God. Okay. Now, that being said, everywhere around them in every section is old concrete monastery to subpar football. The Tebow faithful held their arms out wider as still and sniff as breathing the same, blah, blah, blah. Number 15 was going to get them closer to our Lord and Savior, something they were not visiting the faithful. It's just crazy. It is transcendent sports, this thing that happened, okay? So now that we know that, now that I've tried to make the point that this wasn't about football, it was about how people felt about God. I want you to see the kind of bias, the crazy bias. And I saw this. What is happening there? That's not the right deal. Hold on. I can do this. Okay. I watched this with my own eyeballs, and I somehow was able to find it on the YouTubes. That's amazing. But this was a local sports podcast or a broadcast from August 13th of 2011. Okay. In this scene, you've got the 2 media jags here, which is just another guy, these 2 media jags talking about Tim Tebow and Kyle Orton. Because it was a big talk. This was at the beginning of the season to see who was going to win the quarterback job. But this is where the bias, it started from Jump Street. The guy never had a chance to have a career in the NFL. Watch this.
All about the quarterbacks. We started off talking Broncos and Cowboys, and the big talk there was Tim Tebow and Kyle Orton. Really, it was all about Tebow and how he performed. What'd you think?
Well, Kyle Orton moved the offense the first series, didn't throw the ball exceptionally well, but you could just see a difference. I mean, Tebow, his first 2 series, I thought he looked pretty awful.
Okay, did you hear that? Orton just looked different. He just looked different. He moved, he didn't throw the ball good, but he looked different because through my eyes, my God-hating eyes, I wanted to see Orton succeed. And then Tebow, he was just a mess, right? Listen to that again.
Tebow, his first 2 series, I thought he looked the ball exceptionally well.
What'd you think?
Well, Kyle Orton moved the offense the first series, didn't throw the ball exceptionally well, but you could just see a difference. I mean, Tebow is...
You could just see a difference. I mean, science doesn't matter here. Facts none of this matters. The truth doesn't matter. I watched Kyle Orton, He didn't throw the ball great, but you could see with your eyeballs that he was just different, right? And then Tim Tebow, by the way.
First 2 series, I thought he looked pretty awful.
I thought Tim Tebow looked pretty awful. And then these, I almost said idiots, I can't say that, ran the
Things were
stats.
not going.
Look at this. Look at what we're talking about here. Kyle Orton, he didn't throw the ball very well, but he just looked different. 2 of 6, which means he threw the ball 6 times, completed it twice for 37 yards. And then the guy said that Tim Tebow looked awful. Tebow was 6 of 7, which means that he completed 6 passes of 7 attempts for 91 yards. He completed 3 times as many passes for 3 times as many yards. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? This is why this is so important to me and why I'm so passionate about it. This is a representation of everything that the media does. This is everything that they're spouting. This is every bit of disinformation. I don't care if it's about your education, about the universe, about your health. What you're seeing right here, you guys, is why you cannot trust the media. Whatever they tell you, do the opposite. And this goes through, this is the entire Tim Tebow story. I've watched, I don't know, 40 hours, 30 hours. I've got, it doesn't matter, but absolute dozens of pages of notes. I'm trying to boil it down to 5 minutes. I can't even do this in an hour tonight, so it's going to be impossible to boil down to 5 minutes, but look at this.
Didn't throw the ball exceptionally. Well, Kyle Orton moved the offense the first series, didn't throw the ball exceptionally well, but you could just see a difference. I mean, Tebow, his first 2 series, I thought he looked pretty awful. Things were not going very well.
How can they go any better than 6 of 7? Nobody in the whole world has ever been 7 of 7. They can't. You can't do any better. And he probably ran for 40 yards and a touchdown. Okay. I'm going to show just a couple more things like this. This is called how Tim Tebow completely ruined his career. This is called how Tim Tebow ruined his career by being the perfect teammate, the perfect leader. And again, I can't state enough. Those of you that know football, the team was 1-4 under Orton. The team was bad, and all you hear was the defense. It was luck, whatever. He won 7 of 8 games. Orton was 1-4. He won 7 of 8 games. Okay. Dynamic. And it was his first year. His stats were better than Elway's. His stats were better than Manning's, Eli Manning's, all of them. And he was never to be seen again. So this is the YouTube, the very informative YouTube film called How Tim Tebow Ruined His Career.
Tim Tebow seemed to have everything going for him when he came out of college, except a strong arm, that is. But plenty of guys in the NFL have succeeded without a strong arm. However, if we may use a basketball saying here, ball don't lie. During his 35 regular season NFL games, Tebow threw for 2,422 yards for an average of 69.2 yards a game.
He only played quarterback and started for 16 of those games. So that's exactly half of the number. Continue.
With 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions,
2 to 1 touchdown ratio. That's how you win football games.
an abysmal 47.9 completion percentage.
47.9% completion percentage. I need you guys to hear about this for a second. A very, very good NFL quarterback will complete 65% of passes. A decent, middling will complete 55% of passes. Tebow completed 45% of passes. Okay, that means that if he threw 10 footballs, a great quarterback would complete 6. A fairly good quarterback would complete 5, and he completed 4. And when he wasn't completing passes, he was throwing them into safe places to not turn the ball over. Sorry to get all sporty here, but
And 7 fumbles. Couple that with the off-field distractions and way too much media hype, and
the off-field distractions, being a Christian.
Tebow's NFL career was uninspiring.
She just said that Tebow's NFL career was uninspiring. You can say whatever you want to about Tim Tebow. You could say whatever you want to about him clearly, but uninspiring isn't the word. The superstar that was Tim Tebow, uninspiring isn't the word. couple more of these videos, and then I'll get to the conspiracies. I could do this all day, obviously, but this is the last one I think I'll show. This will show you just how inspiring what he did was, and just exactly how the media covered it. Tebow beat the Steelers. The Steelers they had been to the Super Bowl the prior year. They were a juggernaut of a team. They were almost double-digit favorites, and they thought for sure that the Steelers were going to win the game. And Tebow had his best game as an NFL quarterback. He completed 316 yards worth of passes, which is a good day. And obviously there's that 316 number. We'll get into that in a second. He made every throw. He didn't turn the ball over. It didn't have to be a miracle. And then he beat him in overtime with this throw here, and it changed the sports world. It was one of the most inspiring moments. This is the 10th most, what is it called? The 10th best play in the history of the NFL. It's inspiring, lady. And what I want you to see is the play he did. It's Demaryius Thomas, and that's going to segue us into Demaryius Thomas. And then it's the longest play to end a playoff game in the history of the NFL, to upset a team that was supposed to win. Watch what he does. Watch this media coverage. Look at the anti-God fervor. Look at the bias.
Tebow in the playoffs, right?
Love Tim Tebow.
He's the aw shucks nice guy that everybody wants to root for.
I mean, he's good. Why would you not love him? Anyone who can hold out from sex for that long, with that many girls coming after him, has to be a god amongst men.
Oh, you're a virgin. You're stupid. Promiscuity is your duty, stupid virgin, God lover.
Like, remember when Tim Tebow was a thing?
You know, we look back at Tebow Mania, and it's something like, did we really do that? It's like a pet rock.
Oh my goodness, I'm so mad right now. The only reason it stopped is they stopped it. The only reason Tebow Mania stopped is because they stopped it. That wasn't a fad. That was a brilliant moment in sport and Christian popular culture history that was totally stamped out by the devil. We did that. Yeah, we did.
What the heck is going on? Tebow effect.
Let's be honest. Tim Tebow was not exactly known for his passing prowess.
I mean, the big problem with Tim Tebow as a quarterback is he wasn't very good at throwing a football, which is one of the real requirements.
But when the Broncos started 1-4 in 2011, they desperately switched quarterbacks and went with Tim Tebow.
All right, I got to pause it. I'm sorry. The requirement that a quarterback has to throw the football, that's like kind of one of the things. That's literally one of the things. And every year, 20 cookie cutter quarterbacks come out and get drafted, and they can throw the crap out of a football. They can just wing it. But you know what? They suck at everything else. They don't have a mind for the game. They're not good leaders. So they come out with a big arm, and they're terrible. And Tebow wasn't as accurate as he could have been. Urban Meyer's partly to blame because of how he taught him to throw the football, whatever. But he was getting better. And I actually found a clip of a scout saying that after his work, you could line up the ball. You could line up Tebow throwing balls with anybody. He could throw it like anybody because he figured it out. Because you can make a change. If you're a golfer, you know that you can make a change. But the intangibles, the scoring, the leadership, it's more important than just throwing the ball, because people throw the ball all the time and suck. Whatever. I can do this on every clip. I'll try not to.
Fueled by Tebow Mania, Denver finished with an 8-8 record.
The Broncos have won 6 consecutive games.
The Broncos didn't finish with an 8-8 record. He was handed a 1-4 team, and he won 8 games and lost 4. Okay, if he would have played a full season, you extrapolate those numbers, he would have been 12-6. Number's not right. 12-5. They only play someone. It doesn't matter.
Tebow was terrible in the first 3 quarters of every game, but managed to somehow finish all these games.
The Broncos snuck into a playoff matchup with Pittsburgh and the number 10 playoff finish of all time.
It's a pretty good throw.
The shock obviously was the end.
Headed into overtime, tied at 23.
If I had to look at one of the worst 2 minutes of my life, that would be it.
Denver's football, first snap of overtime here.
That moment, something happened. It was like Everybody wanted Tebow to do so well. I think everybody willed it to happen.
Tim play fakes in the pocket, sets, throws. Demaryius Thomas.
When he caught it, I'm like, okay, it's going to be a 20-yard game, whatever it is. And then Thomas just keeps going.
Out over the 45 midfield. Here we go. 40, 35, foot race, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown. Denver is over. It's over in Denver.
You've got to be kidding me.
Everybody was so shocked.
I'm still in shock just looking back on it.
Stunning.
Is this really happening? Has the world really changed?
And I'm like, that really happened.
Cool. They're all conceding it happened. Now watch the spin.
Was open at the 40. Tebow hit him in stride, and there was a stiff arm by Thomas delivered at midfield that basically ended the game.
Back in the day, I was out there on a bully pulpit saying, look, this is not sustainable. This is a mania. When I saw that pass, I was like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I've been wrong all along.
It was one of the greatest accidents in the history of football.
You guys ready for this?
And it happens to my team, the Steelers. I wanted to kill myself. And he beat me on a slant pass that my grandmother could run.
The important thing to remember about that win, though, Pittsburgh was so banged up in that game, they were the equivalent of a 6-10 team.
But that was the problem because it wasn't Tim Tebow, it was just the defense.
It may not come as any surprise to you. I haven't revisited. The sports science behind that throw, it was one of the greatest throws in the history of the NFL. His grandma couldn't throw in that pass.
That my grandmother could have thrown.
The important thing to remember about that win, though, Pittsburgh was so banged up in that game, they were the equivalent of a 6-10 team.
Remember that. Tim Tebow didn't win a game against a really good team. You just got to remember that the grandma could have thrown the pass, right? And also they were a 6-10 team, so that no credit. And then watch what this lady says.
But that was the problem because it wasn't Tim Tebow, it was just the defense.
Did you see how matter of fact? Like, this is how the media lies to you. That's the problem. It wasn't Tim Tebow. It was the defense gave up 23 points, and it was exactly Tim Tebow in that game, particularly 316 yards. He was absolutely dynamic, absolutely dynamic. And where was the defense when they were 1-4? It was the same team. It was the same team. You know what he did? In his will, in his faith in God, in his leadership ability, he literally willed that same team to be better than they were. Get me out of here. I'm so triggered. And I've just been triggered for days and days about this. You guys, I'm like losing it up here. I'm so triggered. And I'm trying to put this into a 5-minute documentary. It's hard to do. Okay. So you saw Demaryius Thomas there, right? Remember the Demaryius Thomas discussion? You guys aren't going to believe this. I can't even believe this. I'm going to show you this one last time, and then I'm going to read an article. Okay, this is where I'm going to get. There's a couple things I'm going to punt on. I'm going to get into the conspiracy for the next 10 minutes and try and wrap this up. I don't know if I feel really like that's going to happen, but I want you to see this again before I read this letter to you. And I need you to remember that Demaryius Thomas just passed away. So RIP, I'm not trying to be hard on him. You don't want to disrespect somebody that obviously is passed, but.
No big deal. It just makes it closer for a little bit longer, man. You're about to go catch the game winner. And then you'll be the hero of the game.
Denver.
Do you see how genuine he had his arm around him? How genuine he was? Yo, DT, don't worry about that, bro. You're gonna win the game, and you're gonna be the hero, right? This is how you inspire a team. I hate to even show you guys this. Oh, this is a good one. Second thought, maybe the Church of Satan priest was wrong about Tim Tebow and God. There's a 316 deal. I was going to get into that. Okay. A Denver Broncos wide receiver blasts Tim Tebow. Denver Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas told an Atlanta radio station that he's not sad to see Peyton Manning replace Tim Tebow. I ain't going to say I was sad, because the only thing they remember is that pass, the pass I just showed you. You got to go back and look at the rest of the games. I wasn't getting no balls, and you had to make some of these plays where some players were open and he is not making the throws. But I don't want to talk bad about Tim, but hey, I am happy we got Peyton. When Thomas speaks of that pass, everyone remembers he's referring to the miracle overtime touchdown pass. Thomas also said the locker room wasn't exactly as enthralled in Tebow mania like the rest of the country. There wasn't much talk about him, but everything on ESPN was all about Tim. That bothered some players too because they would say, Tim Tebow time. I felt like it was a team thing. If it wasn't for the defense, most of the time there wouldn't be no supposed Tim Tebow time. He's big into double negatives. Okay. This is where things get weird. Demaryius Thomas was 33 when he died a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of speculation how he died. They said it was seizures, but there's people that are thinking that's a very rare thing that would happen. There's potentially another option. He was going to turn 34 on Christmas, which is really bizarre. But here's, as I start to kind of put this into the Matrix spiritual crazy Luke filter, would you say that he was a doubting Thomas? Would you say in this scenario that Demaryius Thomas, D. Thomas, was Tebow's doubting Thomas? Now, let me be really clear and say I don't think Tim Tebow is Jesus Christ. I don't want anybody should, obviously, he's not the Messiah. But as far as archetypes, okay, as far as archetypes, Tim Tebow represents God in popular sports. Watch this guy talk about Tim Tebow.
Not only a great football game. Did you miss it? Did you?
Okay, and I didn't actually see the game. Why don't you tell us? Tell us what happened and why everyone's talking about Tim Tebow.
Oh, Kelly, if you missed this game, you missed.
Should I just leave?
Not only a great football game. Did you miss it? Did you?
Okay, and I didn't actually see the game.
You need to go back and watch this game. It was a suspenseful, great football game, but it was also culturally significant because Tim Tebow, as you said, God's quarterback, I think has catapulted. He was already a superstar. I think he's
God's quarterback. Okay. So again, I want to be very clear as I kind of go through this conspiracy. Tim Tebow is not God. He's not Jesus Christ, but in this archetypal way, he represented God. Okay. Because they called him God's quarterback over and over and over. He's the savior of the Broncos, the Messiah, all this kind of stuff. So Demaryius Thomas isn't doubting Thomas, and Tim Tebow isn't Tim Tebow, or isn't Jesus Christ, but Can you believe that the doubting Thomas is Demaryius Thomas to Tim Tebow, God's quarterback? I can't even wrap my mind around that. And the fact that he was 33 is really bizarre too, and would have turned 34 on Christmas. It's weird. There's a bunch of those things that are kind of weird like that. Okay. So that's the start of the conspiracy. The next one is that John Elway, everybody's favorite, and this is a big part of what my documentary is actually about. By a big part, I mean everything's 1 minute long. This is knightstemplar.org. This is the knightstemplar.org. I didn't know they had a knightstemplar.org. They do. Brother John Elway. The first half of the 20th century, the number of Masonry's famous figures from the world of athletes or athletics were many and numerous, with the passage of time and membership declining. But in the realm of football, Red Grange, Don Hudson, Glenn Pop Warner highlighted Brother John. It's a list of fraternal footballers. Brother John Elway. Okay. Did you know these Freemason athletes are also part of Freemasonry? The Grand Lodge of Ohio. He's an absolute Freemason. Okay. So when you watch this, I shouldn't show you this. This is this is the third part of the video that I'm making, but it's important for me to show it to you. Ryan, let's see here. I'll go to this one. Let me show you this really quick. I want you to see, this is a little sneak into the video that I'm making, but I want you to see, where is it at? Here it is. How Elway was reacting to Tim Tebow succeeding on his team. See if he was happy about this. Again, sneak peek into the new Voice of Reasons show. Why is that not pulled up? Make sure I get it right here. Here we go. This is me trying to boil this down, but I want you to watch how Elway reacts to Tebow's success.
Broncos general manager John Elway was in a tough position. Sure, his team was winning, selling tickets and jerseys, while tens of millions were tuning in to watch the Broncos and Tebow time. There was only one problem. Elway didn't like Tim Tebow.
If he's any...
Will you look at that again? I know, again, sneak peek. This little bit of inside ball about Chloe's and my relationship. I was supposed to be at this football game with my cousin.
His team was winning.
It was the only night that I could go on my first date with her, so we didn't go to that. I didn't go to the football game. I hung out with her. We watched this game at her friend's house, and I remember this play as clearly as I can remember any sport play just about. This is when he beat the Jets. The Jets were this vaunted team, and Tebow beats them. And when he scored this touchdown and he went in the end zone, everybody in Denver was in love with what was happening. You could feel it in the universe. It was unbelievable. Everybody was just enthralled. Like, he came back in another game. They're down 13-10 with 1 minute left in the game. 3rd and 4. This could be the game. He scores his touchdown. And when he scored, like, I can tell you, it was certainly not, I'll speak like Demaryius Thomas. It was not inspiring. It was very inspiring what happened. And they pan up to the box, and Elway the Freemason he looks like the bad guys in a Disney movie. Like, if you've ever seen the movie Major League, where they like want the team to lose. The like lady wants a team to lose to sell it or something, and they win, and they look up and she's like smoking cigs and like super pissed off. Watch Elway.
Selling tickets and jerseys, while tens of millions were tuning in to watch the Broncos and Tebow time. There was only one problem. Elway didn't like Tim Tebow.
Okay, so a little sneak peek there at the documentary. But I was watching this in real time, and I didn't know Elway was a Mason at that time. I just knew he hated Tim Tebow. So what do we have so far? We have Elway going, well, what in the hell am I going to do with this guy? He's a super Christian. 94 million people are Googling John 3:16. He's a phenomenon. He's absolutely selling out the stadiums, selling out jerseys. Tim Tebow in May of this year was brought on by Jacksonville as a tight end, try out for a tight end. And he signed up with Jacksonville, and within like 3 hours, it was the #1 selling jersey in football again as a tight end for Jacksonville. He would have made so much money for everybody. What is John Elway going to do? He's in a bad situation here. I got to get rid of Tim Tebow. The only way he got out from under this Tebow thing, which is, by the way, why he never got another chance again, because he would have won and they would have not been able to get rid of him. The only way that they were able to get out of him with Denver was by signing Peyton Manning. Okay. Those of you that follow sports, and I actually found this, a lot of this has come out. I didn't know. I mean, I knew what was going on in 2011, but nobody was reporting on it. So it was intuition. It was being a conspiracy theorist, whatever. So now it's come out that in the new book, he blasts Tebow for being greedy. The only way he could get out of this was with Peyton Manning's that I want to. Oh, dang. Okay. This is the next level of the conspiracy. The only way that Elway could get out from Tebow, it was Peyton Manning. So read this. So when you think of Peyton Manning, be sure to remember all of the numbers, awards, and championships, but take a moment and say a little non-prayer of thanks for his role in ending the phenomenon we came to know as Tebow Mania. Listen to this about John Cannon. He hates God. I can tell you about John Cannon. He's a jerk and he hates God. So when you think of Peyton Manning, be sure to remember all of the numbers, awards, and championships. But the thing that Peyton Manning did. He saved the world from Tim Tebow. Okay? Peyton Manning. And the article is named All Hail Peyton Manning, the man who ended Tebow Mania. And this didn't come out till 2016, right? A lot of my friends back in Denver knew. I was so mad. I'm still mad at the Broncos. I need to forgive John Elway. God give me grace. I'm having a really hard time with that still. To be in Denver and to have experienced this and to love God and to watch what I was watching, and then for it to be taken away, like it was brutal. And I was very critical of Peyton Manning, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's so good," and he started off terrible, and then he was actually not very good. They had a backup quarterback when they won the championship. No one could argue that the year that the Broncos won the Super Bowl, that they wouldn't have been a better team with Tim Tebow, because Peyton Manning was terrible. All right, so Peyton goes in. Look at this craziness. All hail Peyton. You guys aren't even going to believe what I'm going to show you. I remembered the shirt. It came to mind when I was looking up and doing this research. This was a big time sell. This shirt sold. I saw thousands of them in Denver. Hail Peyton with a pentagram. And Peyton Manning's number was 18, which is 666. What's going on? How is this real? Like, number one, how do you not believe in conspiracies? I could show you, I could do this for another 4 hours, and I can prove to you that Tim Tebow is not in the NFL because he represented God and he was the kind of Christian that people did not want to see. And if that's the case, you could make a really quick argument that the devil is behind the media and the NFL and all these kind of things. That's a pretty quick deduction, right? Supply and demand. And then we've got his big doubter, Demaryius Thomas, who was totally critical of him, even though Tebow was like an unbelievable. I can't tell you how many passes Demaryius Thomas dropped. We could do a clip of all of the passes that Demaryius Thomas dropped. He's doubting Thomas in this story, and now he dies from the VACCINE, maybe. And then in order to get Tebow off of Denver's books, they bring in Hail Peyton, whose number is 666. How is this real? So, this is why I'm a conspiracy theorist, and this is why, I'm not sure if there's anything such as objective reality. It's not real. And Elway's a Freemason, of course. The Freemasons are involved in it. And then this, and you just can't. I don't know. You can't make this up. Tebow phenomenon gets eerie. This is Adam Schefter. If you know sports, he's the lead NFL analyst today in all of football. There's no need to embellish this story. Facts speak for themselves. On January 8th, 2009, the BCS championship game, then Florida quarterback Tim Tebow wore eye black with the inscription John 3:16. A reference to the Bible passage that said, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life." Okay? This is a big message. This is ESPN coming from Bristol. Adam Schefter. He just wrote, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever should believe in him would not perish but have eternal life." On January 8th, 3 years to the date. 3 years. Okay. This January 8th, 2009 game was the game that 94 million people Googled John 3:16. Okay. 3 years to the day was the game against Pittsburgh that he won. 3 years to the day. Okay. John Elway threw, that was weird. Tim Tebow threw for 316 yards. So let's go back. January 8th, 2009, he put 316. Tebow has the whole story of how he had to convince his coach he was going to do it, and they were on this superstitious thing, so they couldn't change it. And he's like, "God told me to do it." He changed it. 94 million people Googled it. 3 years to the day, Tebow beats Pittsburgh in that game where you saw the media blast him. "Oh, 6-10 Pittsburgh. My grandma could have thrown it." All that stuff, right? Tebow throws for 316 yards. He'd completed 10 passes, not a great number, which means he averaged 31.6 yards per completion. Roethlisberger's second quarter interception, which led to Matt Prater's field goal and a 17-6 Broncos lead, came on 3rd and 16. The Steelers finished the game with a time of possession of 31 minutes and 6 seconds. And at the time that Tebow threw the game-winning 80-yard pass to Doubting Thomas, the NFL's longest postseason pass in overtime history and still to this day, CBS's final quarter hour overnight ratings were 31.6, and he also rushed for 3.16 yards per carry. Now, some people don't believe in UFOs, or some people believe in UFOs, some don't. Some believe in afterlife, some don't. Some believe in coincidences, some don't. Some people believe in the power and talents of Tebow, some don't. Right? It's all the same thing. I keep making this point. But there can be no denying that the events from Denver's wild card win over Pittsburgh are downright eerie. Eerie is a word. Okay. When the string of 316 facts was relayed to one NFL executive this week, he paused and said, "Is that right? I'm converting." That's how many people feel now. Tebow's winning more converts with each win. What Denver did in beating Pittsburgh behind Tebow's arm was hard to imagine. But maybe it should not have been. The Broncos were the 16th in NFL history to reach the postseason with the point differential -50. And here's why Broncos fans should worry. Each of their previous 5 games that they won, they lost, blah, blah, blah. People can argue whether Tebow is a bona fide quarterback, whether these 3-6 numbers are accidental, but one fact is beyond argument. One fact is beyond argument. With Tebow as their starting quarterback this season, the Broncos are 8-4, including a wild card win over the defending AFC champions. There's no arguing over who will beat Denver's starting quarterback entering the 2012 season. Spoiler. It wasn't Tim Tebow. And Tim Tebow didn't start for any team in 2012 or ever again. He was never given another opportunity. This is how he ends his career. And if you, whatever, I would love comments in the YouTube section. People can reach out to me, voiceofreasonsofficial@gmail.com. I will get back to you. Give me a counter argument to this. And all you can give me is the same counter argument you give me about why there is no God and science proof there's no God. You're biased. You're lame bias. And it breaks my heart. Like, I'll be honest. Tim Tebow's 33 now. And I would have loved to watch him play football for 10 years, and the world would have been a better place. Literally would have been a better place if he would have done it. The guy is like prayed for like people having seizures and healed them. Another guy had a heart attack on an airplane, and Tebow like prayed with them and went to the hospital afterwards. And like the guy's just legit. He's legit, and he's way too close to what Christ wants us to be for the evil, Satan-driven, led Illuminati media world system. The end. All right. Actually, do I have anything else? I do have a couple other things. Maybe I'll talk about it in the after party over at TikTok. I'm fired up. Yeah, I get it. It's just football, but it wasn't just football. And why, one of the reasons I'm so upset about it is, you know, I've dealt with cancel culture. I mean, people call me the Tim Tebow of TikTok. If I'm being honest. I look like him. I'm yoked like him. No, but it really sucks that you can do everything right. And, you know, the devil runs the world system. That sucks. I look forward to, God willing, being eternity with God and without the devil, because he's an asshole. So, and all the people that work for him are also assholes. Legit. I mean, obviously I'm having like a mini meltdown here. I'm so fired up about this, but